Hey, what's happening to you guys? Pyros here and welcome back to another video. So today I wanted to kind of talk about this issue that we have in the gaming industry. Now we can talk about the problems that we've been seeing over the past couple of days. More specifically, game companies being extremely greedy in terms of trying to make as much money as humanly possible. Obviously trying to be on the good side of the investor, but in consequence ending up pissing off the gamers who they're trying to sell their product to. We see this with Nintendo. Nintendo, in terms of the main platform of games, they've been doing okay, but when it comes to the mobile side of things, they've been kind of tipping their toes into corporate greediness, especially with Mario Kart Tour. Like, the way that they're monetizing that game is beyond ridiculous. Then you have Call of Duty locking away a survival mode called Spec Ops into a 1-year exclusivity with PlayStation, pretty much telling Xbox users and PC users to fuck off for about a year, then come back and get that mode themselves. There also has been rumors of them trying to hide away certain guns and I think abilities and things of that nature. I didn't look into it too much, but I just saw just a paragraph of them essentially locking away guns into loot boxes, loot crates, randomization, things of that nature to kind of encourage people to continue to pay out money in order to get the guns they want, somewhat creating a pay-to-win vibe, but it's not really directly in that sense. It's pretty much creating this problem with Call of Duty, and this game has been doing extremely well. Like, in terms of what I want, it's a game with good story. They're not holding back, no sensitivity whatsoever. It's a pretty good game. But obviously these guys are doing all these underhanded tactics to try and make as much money as possible. And then you have recently, I believe, Ubisoft with their Tom Clancy Ghost, Tom Clancy Ghost Recon Breaking Point or Breakpoint or something like that, in which it has been discovered that it's going to be extremely pay to win. In terms of, obviously, if you are well, and if you don't know what the term well means, it means someone who has a lot of money, you're going to have a huge advantage over those who don't want to spend any money or those who don't have the money to spend. And we obviously talk about these problems. We as gamers, we don't tolerate bullshit. When we see something that we don't like, we act upon it immediately. Especially if you've seen with Call of Duty, it has been reported that Call of Duty has been allegedly losing a lot of their pre-orders for the game, which is good, obviously. In terms of pre-ordering, you're not supposed to pre-order anything until 2 days or 1 day before the game comes out, because you're not gonna lose a copy of Call of Duty if you're someone who's looking for the physical copy, I guess. And if you're someone who just wants to play the game and he doesn't care how they get it, there's digital and there's copy. There's always ways. So, but the thing is that we're not really trying to figure out how to solve this issue, because we can say that yes, we're not gonna purchase any bullshit, we're not gonna do any of that stuff, but what we don't understand is game creation and game developing is getting more and more expensive. So of course these companies are gonna, before you go off, I see your face, I am not trying to justify what these companies are doing right now, absolutely not. But I can understand why they're doing what they're doing. They have to make money. They have to strive and survive in this very competitive environment. Technology is getting more and more expensive. Creating games is becoming more and more, difficult to manage. So they have to figure out ways to make more money. It's a business tactic. Unfortunately, they're going about it the wrong way. So what are the solutions? I mean, for the most part, we as gamers, we've come to the understanding that they can add in microtransaction into the game as long as it's cosmetic stuff, something that does not give anyone any advantage over anyone else. So people would pay money to have a character that can puke out rainbows, or a character that mimics something that happens in the real world, like a meme or whatever. We would pay for that, or a dope ass outfit. We would pay for that. No one has any issues with that. XP boosters, it is pay to win to some degree, but it's not something that gives someone an internal advantage. So eventually everyone's going to end up leveling up. Eventually everyone's going to end up being at max level. So it's not something that gives someone a huge advantage, essentially. So that's fine for the most part. DLCs is fine too. We all agree DLCs is fine, but DLC obviously requires more work, and it's not something that can be done very easily to minimize cost. One of the other things that can solve this issue, which is not going to be appreciated by a good portion of the community because we already know how expensive games are, one of the things that can kind of leverage this issue is obviously if the game prices go up. Right now we pay 60 euros for premium AAA games. I wouldn't be surprised if games began to go up in price, like 70 euros or 80 euros. Heck, they can even push it to 90 euros if if it ends up being that sense, because video games, I don't know if people have noticed, but making a video game is now coming close to the same level of production quality that you would find in making a CGI movie or something like that. I think so, personally. Because when you look at behind the scenes and look at all the stuff that they're going through it, buying motion caption equipment, buying powerful PCs that can render 3D graphics, hiring a team that can create art, music. You have orchestras being made for one of our favorite musics in video games. Like, it is not a cheap process. So, what is the solution? I am not a genius. I don't have this solution. But I wanted to open this dialogue a little bit more because it is easy for us to just be quick on hating something, be quick on just bashing out all these developers, all these people. But at the end of the day, they have to find a way to make money. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you can't have games consistently cost 60 euros forever, while game production, while the equipment is needed, while they're pushing the boundaries of getting bigger and better and more powerful games becomes more and more expensive. I mean, they could go with Nintendo's route, keep the graphics like cartoonish, like Mario, Zelda, whatever the case may be, and just create fun games. Nintendo are perfect when it comes to creating games that are fun but aren't heavy dependent on graphic fidelity. But people don't want that. People want the latest and greatest graphics visuals. They want the most beautiful looking games like Cyberpunk 2077, The Witcher 3, Call of Duty, Battlefield, Tomb Raider. That's what the game industry seems to be going for. It could, I mean, I don't know how much it costs, but I would imagine that games like Mario, Zelda, games that don't have that level of realism in terms of the graphics would be slightly cheaper because they don't have to worry about motion capture cameras and all that stuff. But yeah, I think one of the biggest solutions would be to increase the price of gaming, and that's the only way we can avoid the bullshit that we're seeing so far, or at least teach them that we can accept microtransaction, but not in the aggressive way that they're doing it, not in a way that hampers the quality of the the quality of the games that we're seeing. Sorry, someone's playing music then, it kind of distracted me a little bit. But yeah, like, I know people will look at CD Projekt Red as an example. These are people who are creating fantastic games like The Witcher 3 with their DLC practices. All their DLCs are free, which is amazing. Honestly, it is amazing. They're pretty much also going to be doing the same thing for Cyberpunk 2077. DLCs are going to be free, and like I have no idea how they're doing it. It is possible. Maybe it is possible. Maybe that CD Projekt Red is doing their budgeting right. But it also has to factor in that these guys' headquarters is, I believe, in Poland. Taxes could be different. The rate of living expenses could be different than the companies that are pretty much currently in America, in the Silicon Valley areas, like the California. I don't know. Like, I'm just trying to figure out how these guys are doing it so well, but the other guys are incapable of doing it. These are just questions that I have. You know what I mean? I mean, they've tried to create collection editions to try and subsidize these prices, but it doesn't matter. You're still spending money to make stuff. So that's why I'm just bringing the question to you guys. It's a discussion because with the recent Ghost Recon Breakpoint microtransaction, that's obviously going to be pay to win. They're just trying to find a way to continue to turn a game into pay as you play service. You have to ask yourself, what is the solution? Because if it's 75 euros for a game, I feel like most of us won't like this, but it would beat having a game that's fucking ruined by microtransactions and pay to wins and all that shit. I don't know. I don't know. DLC could be one way of doing it, but it's another extra work, and obviously if the DLC looks like a gimmick, like a cheap shortcut just to make more money, people will obviously come down on them. they'll destroy them. I don't know. It's interesting. They could do something similar. This is a bad idea, but in terms of a game that has multiplayer, they could cleverly show advertisements within the game that doesn't hamper, the experience of the game. So let's say you're playing a shooting game and there's a building there, and the building has an advertisement for Coca-Cola or something like that, and then they get paid in that way. Think creatively. I don't know. I like, if I'm playing Call of Duty right now and I'm going around shooting people and I see a building that has a Coca-Cola ad sign on it, it's not gonna disturb me if it makes sense in the settings, obviously. Or let's say, for example, I don't know, it's not gonna work in a fictional, fantasy world game like maybe Elder Scrolls, something like that. If Elder Scrolls has multiplayer, for example, it's interesting. I can't talk. Jesus Christ. It is interesting to think about this type of stuff because we can't go on like this. Every time a game comes out, and this is a new tactic as well, if you've noticed, games like Call of Duty, I'm going to use Mario Kart as an example, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, they don't reveal that they have plans for a microtransaction or for a pay-to-win type tactics until the game comes out. This is the new tactic, if you've noticed. Call of Duty had no plans of revealing that they're going to be doing a loot box. They're going to wait for the reviews to come out to hype the game up, make it look like the greatest game of all time. People buy the game, or people who've pre-ordered the game. These two people, they go in, they buy the game, they have it, and then after 2 days or 3 days or 4 days or whatever day it is, then they unleash an update that says, hey guys, we are adding loot boxes, but fuck you, you've already bought the game. That's what they're gonna do, but we need to have a dialogue, discuss it with these guys. But anyways, that's just my thoughts and opinion on it. Let me know what you guys think. I'm Pyros, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.